Ever wondered why relationships with certain men leave you feeling drained, depleted, and emotionally exhausted? Imagine a man who is charismatic, engaging, and attention-grabbing. A man who draws you in with his captivating charm, but who also seems to have an insatiable appetite for attention and validation. A man who draws you in with his captivating charm, but who also seems to have an insatiable appetite for attention and validation. You're drawn into his world, captivated by his charm. But as time goes on, you begin to feel that something is amiss. He is like an emotional vortex, constantly sucking in energy and attention, but giving little back. Your days revolve around him, his needs, his desires. You find yourself constantly trying to fill his emotional void, pouring in love, time, and attention, hoping that it's enough. But it never seems to be. You're left feeling drained, your emotional reserves depleted. You start to lose yourself, your identity slowly eroding in the onslaught of his demands. In the whirlwind of their charisma, you might find yourself lost, constantly pouring into them while your emotional tank runs dry. But how do you identify these emotional vampires? What signs should you look out for? Narcissistic men often employ a range of manipulative tactics to drain your emotional reserves. Gaslighting is a common technique, where they manipulate you into questioning your own sanity. They might contradict your memories or deny events ever happened, leaving you confused and self-doubting. Another tactic is emotional blackmail. They might use guilt, fear, or obligation to control your actions. For instance, they might say, "If you loved me, you would do this for me," putting you in a position where you feel obligated to meet their demands. These tactics can leave you feeling drained, confused, and emotionally unstable. But remember, this isn't about you. It's about their need for control and dominance. Being aware of these tactics is your first line of defense. Recognizing them can help you understand what is happening and take necessary steps to protect your emotional well-being. Did you know narcissistic men often employ isolation strategies to undermine your support systems? It's a chilling reality, but one that's crucial to understand. Narcissists are experts at manipulation, and isolation is one of their most potent tools. By gradually distancing you from your friends, family, and other sources of emotional support, they gain more control over your perceptions and reactions. This isolation can be subtly executed. Things like sowing seeds of doubt about friends, or creating scenarios that make it difficult for you to maintain your connections are common tactics. The result? You may find yourself feeling alone, vulnerable, and emotionally exhausted. In this state, the narcissist's influence can become even more potent, further draining your emotional reserves. But here's the thing to remember. This isolation is not a reflection of your worth, nor is it a consequence of your actions. It's a control tactic, a strategy. Remember, isolation is a tactic, not a reflection of your worth. Your support system is vital and you deserve to have it intact. Now that you understand the tactics, what can you do to protect yourself and reclaim your energy? The first step is setting boundaries. This may sound simple, but it's often the toughest part, especially when dealing with someone who has a knack for pushing them. Setting boundaries is about deciding what you will and won't tolerate. It's about defining your space, both physically and emotionally, and standing firm in it. This may mean limiting contact, or even severing ties entirely in some cases. Let's consider a hypothetical story to illustrate this. Imagine a woman named Emily. Emily has been in a relationship with a narcissistic man who constantly belittles her and undermines her self-esteem. She realizes she's been losing her sense of self and decides to set boundaries. She starts by limiting their interactions, only engaging in necessary conversations. This is hard at first, but she perseveres. Next, Emily seeks support. She confides in a trusted friend who had noticed the changes in her but didn't want to interfere. This friend provides a listening ear, validation, and encourages Emily to seek professional help. A therapist helps Emily understand that she's not at fault and provides her with strategies to further protect her emotional health. Self-care is another important strategy. For Emily, this means rediscovering activities she loves but had given up because of her relationship. She starts painting again, a hobby that always brought her joy and peace. She also starts practicing mindfulness, taking the time to reflect on her feelings without judgment, and prioritizing her physical health with regular exercise and healthy eating. These strategies aren't easy to implement. They require determination, resilience, and most importantly, a belief in one's worth. But as Emily's story illustrates, they can be incredibly effective. Over time, Emily regains her sense of self. She feels more in control, more energized, and most importantly, happier. You have the power to reclaim your energy and set boundaries. Remember, your emotional well-being is important and should be your priority. So, what have we learned about navigating relationships with narcissistic men? We've understood the draining behaviors and gaslighting, grasped isolation strategies, and discovered self-preservation techniques. Remember, your emotional health matters. Recognize the signs, set boundaries, and reclaim your energy. You have the power to navigate these exhausting realities and come out stronger on the other side.